Morning to everybody. How's it going today? We have wonderfully busy weeks here, especially with the fall feasts, which are, of course, what are the fall feasts? Who can tell me? Michael, who can tell me? So yeah, we got Yom Teruah, then Yom Kippur, which is in English, Day of Atonement. Then there is, which is in English,
Feast of Tabernacles.
Feast of Tabernacles. Feast of Booths, Feast of Tabernacles, Feast of the Ingathering. And of course at the end, Simchat Torah Shmini Atzeret is when we have the rolling back of the scroll and we start the Bible reading plan once again. So my name is Chaim, for those of you who remember, met me. This is my weekly time where you had the time at the morning with hearing about the life here and the volunteering life. This is my part of just giving a little encouragement, having a little time of starting the week right in prayer and encouragement. So I always like to share a little bit about what's going on. You guys know that I'm stationed in Gaza City, and you probably have seen Beersheba or Holon, buildings that are not like Tel Aviv high, but not skyscrapers, but big tall buildings. That's what Gaza City looks like. And that's where I'm serving, that's where I just was, and I'll be there. They wanted me last night, but I'll be there. I'll be going back to the army coming up now. Deanna's just finished a wonderful time in Gather the Nations, which is Joshua Aaron, my dear friend, best friend. He does this thing around the world where he gathers the nations and they have a great time to pray for Israel, to be God's kehillah, ecclesia, his koinonia. That's a cool word, that's a Greek word, which is fellowship. It's all the same thing. Koinonia is communion. So when you have that communion, that fellowship, it's all the same thing. It's the gathering together. Not any one structure, any one denomination, but people who understand God's heart for Israel. So we had an amazing thing happen. We launched officially, and it's all over the world. People see we launched a branch of this charity in Switzerland. Okay, it's called ARC Switzerland. There's a website, there's a team, there's a whole bunch of volunteers will start to be coming from Switzerland because we have a flag out there, but it was just supporters. Now it's an actual office, an actual team, and they speak their German, right? Swiss German. They've got Swiss cheese, they've got chocolate, they've got all kinds of fun stuff. And there was opposition. You probably know. I sent some videos of just protesters out there with the flags, and we're living in that time where they tried to shut the whole conference down and say, how dare you? How dare you pray? Gather and pray? Gather and sing to God? How dare you? What? Like completely. Pray, yeah, so rejoice and be exceedingly glad when people revile you and persecute you for my name's sake, because that's exactly what it is. It's for his name's sake and for his aliyah promises. So I like to start with an encouragement every week, because there's bad things happening, there's good things happening, and we're here, a stable foundation. Conferences are wonderful, and then they sort of pass until the next one. But the thing about the Aliyah Return Center, which includes faithful Galileans in those nations, is that it's every day. People praying every day. People gathering to volunteer every day. People gathering to, they do this prayer watch on altar prayer every day, all day, for 5 years. That's 5,000 people for 5 years, praying day and night. And it all started here, right here in the Galilee. So I'm just excited to say that it's growing, and doesn't mean there won't be opposition. People look at Trump's 21-part plan. They're looking at the 21 pieces of that plan, which is essentially letting an Arab stabilization force come in from around the world, Arab world. I don't know if people have a lot of confidence that is going to provide stabilization. Then an international governance with a bunch of Muslim partners and Arab partners. People and leave gradually over 3 years, begin to completely leave Gaza, inject a bunch of resources. This is what's being proposed. Who knows what this will be like? A lot of people are I might just conservatively say, extremely skeptical that when Hamas says we're going to disarm as part of that plan, that they're really going to disarm. They're going to say, well, here's this pistol. Oh, I still have all these weapons, and I'm going to continue now from all over the world to bring a bunch more weapons in that are not being checked from all these stabilization force. Is Iran one of the stabilization force people? Iran, the supporter of Hamas, the one who started this whole thing? Is that part of the stabilization force? Is the Muslim Brotherhood part of the stabilization force? These are questions that everyone's asking, but it's so new that we don't know what's going to happen. All we can do is trust in God. I know that once this eventually happens, it's going to be probably a very hard time for Israel. If they start a state there and the whole time it's like, look at all this rubble that Hamas caused. Look at all this, and it's Israel's bad, Israel's bad, Israel's bad, and raise generations of Israel's bad. Not Israel's good for the righteous self-defense and for removing terror. But I think people don't always look at things through the lens of the Bible or through what they would do as a nation themselves, So I had a little encouragement for us today, a little encouragement. So it's just talking about, Joseph's dream. So Joseph had a dream which got him into trouble. You know that dream where he says, it's found in Genesis chapter 37, verse 9. And Joseph dreamed another dream. And he told his brothers and he said, behold, I dreamed another dream. They don't really want to hear his dreams. Okay. Yeah. Behold, the sun and the moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. Okay, they didn't like that at all. What did they end up doing? Without going to the whole story, they decided to take that coat of many colors, throw him into a pit. They were going to murder him. But then they were going to Charlie Kirk him. But they decided to throw him in a pit. And then they put animal's blood on the coat, sent it to his dad, and then they're trying to comfort him for like a long, long time, just saying, "Oh, Dad." None of them decided to say, "Hey, Dad, he's actually alive." "Hey, Dad,
we sold
him. He's a slave in Egypt," which is, and I even was thinking, how they didn't have GPS. How do you even find people, even right now, with a GPS? Let's say I want to find this location. Some people have a hard time finding this location with GPS, with satellites, and and signs, big old signs, and every turn pretty much. I know some have been taken down, maybe vandalism, we need to get those fixed. But signs, GPS, everything, and people find sometimes hard to find this place. But I'm just like, how do we find a shepherd, no GPS, no nothing, and the sheep wander? How do you even go to bring food? You know how many Bible stories, go to your brothers with some food and stuff. How do you find them? Very strange. So here you have him going to find, try to find Joseph in Egypt. How are you going to find this kid that's dead, that's sold as a slave? There's just no way. Even with telephone books, you had registrar of people. It just means he's lost forever, right? Who would have guessed he'd be found? Who would have guessed that the dream actually would come true? So you have all of these all of these things that have happened throughout the history since that time, right? And I just know that we have kind of just like that time where you have Esau and Ishmael and Amalek and just these enemies of Israel, all the ites, Perizzites, Hittites, Hivites, Mosquitoites, Jebusites, Democrats. So you have all these kind of. So when it seems like you have this kind of, why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and rulers take counsel together. It sounds like the UN, and they take counsel against God. So it's against God, really. That's good to remember. It's against God, and against His anointed Messiah, saying, "Let's burst their bonds, cast away their cords from us." But He who sits in the heavens will laugh. This is our encouragement today. It can look bad for Joseph. Imagine you're Joseph. You're in this pit. You don't know what God's going to do through you. Every week you saw me doing the blessing of Joseph's kids. Ephraim, Manasseh. I bless my kids like that. Just Friday, right out here, as we do our Shabbat dinner, right? It was a fun Shabbat dinner every week that we do. It's fun. But who would have, if you're Joseph, you see them killing an animal and tricking the dad, and you know there's no GPS, there's no police, you're not going to get found. Imagine how you feel. And then your soul is a slave. Many times Israel feels like that today. I'm making a comparison. Today we can feel like, what hope can there possibly be? It's not a localized Holocaust. This could be a global Holocaust, looking at the way the world is now. When we just got massacred, we go to defend ourselves, and I'm still having to go to Gaza. Still. Right? And now the world is like raging against us. I mean, the launch of Ark Switzerland. to gather the nations there was a big opposition. Flags, screaming, you know.
Yeah, I'm in the UN. When B got up to speak,
Yeah.
they're all walking out.
So many walked out.
How many stayed, you know?
I don't know how many walked out, but it was a planned
How many stayed, you know?
How many stayed?
140 walked out.
Sounds like
140, out of what, 260 or something?
140 walked out, is that right?
Is that right?
That is most of the
They
world.
were clapping, you know, they're walking out. I saw a little video.
Like to make noise, just saying, we don't want to listen to anything you have to say.
I just wonder who stayed.
Well,
Obviously, America stayed.
I guess, yeah, it's down to the wire here. If we, without getting into biblical prophecy and how much time we have until a worse time, which is coming, how much time, will it all ease up? Will it not? I don't want to get into too many discussions right now. We could go on that. And, oh, there was a blood moon. Oh, there's an earthquake. Earthquake potentially scheduled. It says earthquakes. There's wars, rumors of wars, drones. Now can our lasers take out the drones? Because drones is the big thing now. You know, you could swarm Israel with drones. You can't stop them all. Millions, and they could target into humans, and they just lose not one, not two. You could, you know, can the lasers start taking them out? Can you EMP, electromagnetic pulse? All your phones burn up in your hand. You know, there's a lot you can discuss. Will AI turn against Israel? Will AI be used against Israel? Probably will be. Probably will be. But here's the thing. We can hold on to a dream. Joseph was a dreamer. Who else was a dreamer? Jacob. You're a dreamer.
Yeah.
Jacob dreamed. Jacob laid down his head and he... But the thing is, it wasn't about him. It's about God's dream. That's my whole point. Even that kind of strange dream that Joseph said, it's not because it's his dream. It's God's plan. This is a revelation I had. Joseph, that's not your dream. Don't share it because it's not even your dream. You had it, but it's God's dream. Okay, Jacob, it's not your dream. Ladder, that's God's plan. The Jewish people, that's God's dream. Who else? Martin Luther. Okay, Martin Luther, he's like, I believe in a place where human life is respected hey, that's all God's plan in the Bible, you know. So anytime we're dreaming God's dream, it's a good dream. We're here dreaming of the Aliyah. We're dreaming of the great wave, which is looks like it's happening without us doing anything to cause it to happen. Yeah. Anti-Semitism, people are going to start saying, I don't feel so comfortable in other countries, in Western countries, allied countries to Israel. And they'll start to want to come home and we are here to help them. First of all, the faithful Galileans is here to pray into that. Pray. People stay here to learn. Our motto, just going to say our motto, pray, stay, learn, serve. Pray, stay, learn, serve. We're talking about expanding to another building, to more places to stay, as more people want to come and learn and volunteer and pray in the vertical Galilee House of Prayer. So that's, and then of course Aliyah Return Center, humanitarian aid, helping practically at the Aliyah Return Center. Okay, so just to finalize and summarize and wrap all this up, we can dream. If we dream God's dream, it's a good dream. Certainly the enemy's just going to get so deceived, they're going to start coming against Israel on a bigger scale, like Gog and Magog level, or Armageddon level, which are two different wars.
He's going to confuse
One's in
them.
Galilee, one's in Jerusalem.
Right.
He's going to confuse them.
But they're going to get confused. They're going to get, and it's really we don't want to be on the wrong side of history. Just to you see what happened to all those weapons, 150,000 weapons of Hezbollah. Where are they at today? You look at the nuclear weapons of Iran. Where are they at today? Could they come back? Sure. Could everything just come back? Sure. But we see how God turns it around. It looks impossible. You know, Turkey's the largest military force in the Middle East, I think.
NATO.
Well, definitely in NATO. Largest in NATO. They could come against us.
It's hard to believe
And they're even, how are they even in NATO? Yeah, they shouldn't have been there. But my point is to wrap this up and summarize that we can and should use the, I just want to read it correctly, the Pomodoro technique is what I think is good. Have you heard of the Pomodoro technique?
I have not.
No.
Pomodoro technique, okay. So what it is in short, the Pomodoro technique is working on one task for 25 minutes, then rest for 5 minutes. After 4 rounds, take a longer break. Pomodoro. Okay, just because we have to, I'm just talking about keeping our mind stayed on the Lord. So, here's what it is. Keep our mind stayed on the Lord. The Pomodoro technique, focusing on something instead of just next. At least throughout the day, one thing for 25 minutes that God wants you to focus on, obviously. What is God asking you to focus on? To give that time to. Sacrifice that time to the one thing that you pray into, you read into, and you're sure about that one thing a day. Because otherwise it's just run to the end of the day. It's how my days feel like sometimes. The rest you can do for shorter amount of times, 5 minutes. But even 5 minutes focusing on something, is the enemy just wants us to be confused and running from one thing to another. So that's my prayer, and as we have some worship time here, just that we will be able to have his thoughts, the mind of Messiah. We'll be able to be reading his words, the plan of Messiah, the Aliyah, and being able to minister his hands and feet in this land, and being able to establish his kingdom in this time. Amen. One last thought before we have some worship is, have you heard of the 100 million for Israel? 100 million standing for Israel. Have you heard of this? It's a vision that was by a man a long time ago. I don't want to go into all these names, but there was a Paul Kane, Bob, what's his name? Bob from Kansas City. And so you have these different people that gave a prophecy that there's going to be 100 million. Never mind these people. But this mandate is from the Bible. Daniel, 10,000 times 10,000. Book of Revelation, 10,000 times 10,000. What is 10,000 times 10,000? 100 million. That's a heavenly picture. Now the question is there an earthly preparatory group that will arise? 100 million people standing for Israel. I believe it's the time for that. If there's ever been a time, before it's too late, it's now. If there's ever been a time. So we were starting to do this before, and certain things were roadblocks to this. For like over a decade, we've been trying to do this. We had a prayer meeting once that had 120 million on it, on a prayer meeting. We had little hubs, but I don't want to go into the details, but some roadblocks happened, and it got shut down. This can happen. But now we're believing to do it again. 100 million. We're doing it. So there's a website, 100M, Israel100M.com. So you just can go to, I believe it, I'm going to double check that right now. It is Israel100, just the numbers, Israel100M.com. So if you go there, you'll see us, this place, Faithful Galileans, you'll see the Vertical Galilee House of Prayer, you'll see organizations around Israel that are all working together. Israel100M.com. And so we're believing that is going to actually happen this time.
Who's organizing that? Where's that coming out of?
There is a guy called Lou Engel. He's a friend of ours. He's been doing a lot of work on this. There's a guy called Dean Bai, my father-in-law. He's been doing a lot. He's actually, I think, the main coordinator for it, Dean Bai. And my wife's dad. And he's there along with Return Ministries. There's other people. Patricia Bootsma with Virtual Israel Prayer Network, and there's a lot of different people. There's the National House of Prayer Canada. There's the Tikkun Ministries, I believe, Asher Intrader. A whole bunch of kind of big names are a whole bunch more. But the main thing is that it's the time now to just start it. And so we heard the shofar, and that's the minute of starting. Shofar blast. It's like signaling, because I told people this. I said, we heard the shofar. Now what are we going to do about it? Oh, I heard a shofar. Wow. No, what are we going to do about it? And we believe that is the time to launch that.